Hey friend, welcome back. Today I am working in my black and white art journal, previously known as my Inktober art journal. Back in 2019, I attempted the Inktober challenge and was unable to complete it. If you're not familiar with the Inktober challenge, it's a challenge that takes place over the course of the month of October, in which participants are encouraged to draw, to illustrate every day for the month of October using ink. Now, I don't think that that's a hard rule, and I think as challenges go altogether, there are no hard rules. The intention is to motivate you to come back to your interest every day for the course of the month so that you can build that habit of practicing, and practice makes progress. I did really enjoy working in this journal. I enjoyed working in black and white. So just because I was unable to finish the challenge within the 31 days of October, for me at least, doesn't mean that I wouldn't continue to participate at my own pace. So let this be a sign from me to you, letting you know if there are any challenges that are outstanding for you that you haven't been able to complete. Feel free to complete them in your own time, even if it takes you a year, even if it takes you 2 years to fill that notebook. The most important part is that you keep coming back to it, and in the end, whenever the end comes around, you will enjoy what you created. You may or may not know this about me, but I don't always create an illustration from start to finish in one sitting. In fact, more often than not, my illustrations take shape over the course of time, which is probably why it's often difficult for me to finish a challenge within the 30-day period. I'm a full-time parent, but I think a lot of you can relate to the fact that sometimes you have to pause a project and come back to it when you have time. So it's not unusual for me to leave an illustration incomplete and return to it a week, a month, or even in this case, 3 years later. So take it from me. Stopping or pausing is not a problem as long as you always remember to come back. I wanted to make sure to show those incomplete illustrations and to point that out, because I think that a lot of people that are starting out in their drawing experience, they there's so many reasons why we don't start. You know, you are uncomfortable breaking the page, you are unsure of exactly what you want to draw, or you feel as though you need to create a masterpiece from start to finish in one go. And I feel like for me, that's never been the case, and I would bet that there are many artists out there that work in the same way. You do what you can when you can, and you finish it when you finish it. Personally, I was drawn to this challenge because I liked the idea of just working in black and white. It really takes away some of the overthinking of illustrating. You know, for me, oddly enough, adding color can sometimes be a little bit, I don't want to say stressful, I feel like that's overly dramatic, but it just can take away some of the overthinking. And I think it's the overthinking that can then deter us from just getting started. So I was really drawn to this Inktober challenge for the fact that there was an opportunity for me to participate in something that was just dealing in black and white. And for my personal choice, I guess, I decided to also kind of work in shades of gray, and I created my own parameters outside of the guidelines of the challenge. And by that I mean, I made special allowances for what I would want. So I worked with Liquitex acrylic ink in black, and I also used white to create sort of like shades of gray. And if I felt like it, I also threw in some gold. I feel like gold is not really a color. I think neither is black and white, technically speaking. Um, and then As I went further into the challenge, specifically one day, I was filming and talking to my husband, and I'll tag that video if you're interested in watching it. And he was really wanting me to add color, despite how much I explained what the challenge meant. He was really intent on like, but wouldn't it be cool if it just had just a little bit of color? So, and I decided, why the heck not? You know, it's mine, it's my journal, it's my art. It's not a challenge where I'm winning a prize at the end. No one's paying me for these illustrations. There's really no good reason for me to not bend the rules to my convenience. If it's going to mean that you're going to enjoy it more, if it's going to mean that you're going to like your end result more, and if it's going to mean that you're going to continue to come back to this practice, then you should be bending the rules to your convenience at every single turn. I would just recommend that for any challenge in general, that you do try and keep it as simple as possible, because the more things you add, then the more it feels like work. It doesn't feel like a fun challenge. It feels like, oh, this is too challenging. Do you know what I mean? You see the difference? So I think for the most part in this journal, I do keep it as we're doing black and white, and then everything else is optional if I feel like it. And so in any case, that's what I do in this journal. I'd recommend that you go to Instagram or just Google the Inktober challenge, just so you can find out some better explained information than like the word vomit that I just did there. As you can see, I'm pretty far along in this illustration. I used a photo of Willow Smith that I found on Pinterest as a reference. And when I use a reference, trust me, I'm not using it so that I can duplicate it. I don't have that skill level yet. I use it just for a point of literal reference of like where to start, what am I looking for. Early on in the video, I don't know if you noticed that on the top left corner, there was a date and there was the word wild. And I had been loosely following some prompts that someone had shared for this challenge. And sometimes you'll find that during Inktober, people create their own prompts. And I think the Inktober challenge itself, there's an Instagram feed for that. And sometimes they create, I think, drawing prompts as well. It's just another thing as a suggestion to maybe help you break the page, as they say. By no means does it mean that in order to participate in the challenge, you need to be drawing following a particular prompt. It's just intended to maybe be something that could be of help to you. So I was kind of following those prompts loosely. And on this day, I went onto Pinterest to try and find something that fit the word wild. I didn't know what it was going to be. I thought maybe it would be, I would find something that was more like a fashion magazine or something like that, with a model doing some kind of wild pose or wild expression. And I didn't. Instead, I came across Willow. And I thought, well, I guess we're not doing wild. Let's just do Willow. And I really loved that photo of her. I mean, A, she's stunning. B, I thought it was interesting that her hair kind of had like these two messy buns, but everything about her was, peaceful and just beautiful and calm. And so I was interested in kind of playing with that, like the idea of like, the hair is as much a protagonist in the picture as she herself is. But I'm not gonna lie, I was intimidated by it because I don't really switch up my hair styles in my illustrations very often. Much of the reason for that is because a lot of the illustrations that I create are a likeness of myself in one form or another. So they don't necessarily look like me, but there's something about them that it has a likeness to me. So I tend to just instinctively create the same type of wavy hair because that's what I have these days. I actually erased some of the extra loose strands over the top of the two buns just because I didn't feel like the way that I drew them was doing the hairstyle justice, and I definitely didn't want my illustration to become a caricature of an image, if that makes sense. So in the end, The hair that I created is a little bit less elaborate as the photo itself, and that's all just because I don't have those skills yet and I didn't want to butcher it. I wish I could have done her hair justice, but that will have to be for another time after more practice. Speaking of another time, I have run out of time rambling here. I hope that you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please don't forget to like it, and if you haven't already subscribed, I hope that you'll consider doing so. I will see you next time, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.